I'm really excited to paint some Foxglove today, and in my individual Foxglove video I painted a purple Foxglove. So in this one I wanted to mix it up just a little bit. I'm going to paint a pink Foxglove and do kind of a composition with some pink over here. So I'm just going to soften my paints, at least the colors I know I'm going to use, which my favorite pinks right now are this Brilliant Pink by Holbein, Quinacridone Rose, and Shell Pink. I always love Opera Rose too, so I'm going to make sure that that is nice and soft as well. I'm also going to use quite a bit of what's already mixed on my palette, but that's a good place to start with softening those. Now, I'm actually going to start my composition by kind of sketching out, not really sketching out, more like blocking out where I want things. So I know for sure that I'm going to have my Foxglove kind of coming up this way, maybe a second one as well. And then I'm going to have my main flowers kind of in this area. And then leaves and everything can come off of there. But I want this to stay really, really light because I don't want it to show through to the front of the painting, but I do want it there so that I can kind of see where I'm going to be painting. Okay, this is kind of a mix of Shell Pink, Brilliant Pink, and some yellows that were on my palette already. And just like in the individual video, I'm going to start with this shape for my petals on the individual blooms on my Foxglove, but this is just a much smaller scale. And then I'm just varying the pink as I go, just slightly. I might have made this bloom a little bit too big, but we're gonna just run with it, make it work. Okay, so now that I've got these main blooms in place, I'm gonna let these dry all the way and move on to these other flowers while I let those dry, and then I'll come back and add more layers, start to add in my stems, all of that fun stuff. So I've kind of got this golden yellow color, which I'm pretty sure I mixed with quinacridone gold, yellow ochre, and then some isoindolin yellow. And then I always like to add in a little bit of pink to my yellows just to mute them down, soften them up, especially when I'm painting flowers like this. And I'm going to keep these other supporting flowers pretty simple. Now once I paint over the top of those pencil lines, they're not going anywhere. You can't erase them. So I might try to add something in here to help disguise those lines, but I'm not too worried about it. If I were to scan this in, I could just erase the lines in Photoshop. So you can get this same look with this green by mixing a deeper green with a dark blue. I've used Payne's Gray, and that's a great one to use. But these are not quite dry, so I'm just gonna wait another minute. I don't want my green to seep into those pink blossoms. So I'm just gonna move on and start adding some leaves and greenery down here. I'm just adding some little circles here to add some filler. Just felt like it needed a little something extra. Okay, now I'm at a good point where I just want to wait for everything to dry, and then I'll come back and add more details once we've got a nice dry layer. All right, I'm still waiting for these to dry up here, but I'm gonna add some extra detail into these main flowers down here, just a little bit. I'm just gonna show you a couple different ways you could finish this off. So on one, I've added some dots. I'll go back in and add even more detail in a minute, but this one I'm gonna add some little stripes. And then the last one, I'm just going to add kind of a second little middle layer to this. And then we'll wait for those layers to dry as well. Okay, it looks like these are dry for the most part, so I'm going to come in with my stem. And then I'm just going to cap the tops of these off so they look like they're connected. You can see this bloom was not 100% dry, which is why the green is kind of bleeding into it, but I'm just gonna let that happen. And then once I go back in, I can try and add more details to it. I'm adding more yellow to the green I already had on my palette. And then I'm just going to add in some more little greenery here. Okay, now we need to go back and address these little berries. So I'm using my dark green that's mixed with that blue. And actually I'm going to mix in a little bit of my brown. It's my raw umber violet, which has just a little touch of purple in it. This is a really good color for those dark kind of twig colors. All right, now I just want to make sure that the whole composition is kind of rounded out a little bit, and I feel like I need more greens, but I don't want to take away from what's going on. So to fix that, I'm just going to add a lot of water to the green that I already have. Make that a lot lighter, and then I can add in some leaves that kind of act as a support, and it's not going to take over. They're just going to be sitting here in the background, just helping round everything out, but they're not taking over, which I love. You can mix up the color a little bit. Okay, now let's go back in and finish off this foxglove. Okay, and now I don't use straight black very often. I don't want to make this too harsh right here, so I'm going to use a little bit of black with a little bit of purple. And then I'm just going to add some little details in here.